With the reveal of the Nintendo Switch 2 being last week, I've taken the past week to gather my thoughts and wanted to make this video talking about my thoughts and opinions on the overall Switch and everything surrounding it. And so first off, we're going to start with the specs of the system. And I was honestly surprised when they revealed that it was going to be 120 FPS. They're taking an PlayStation approach where for some games like Metroid Prime 4, they're doing a performance mode and then they're doing a graphics mode. So you're gonna have one mode where you have 4K 60 FPS, and then the other one's gonna be 1080 but 120 FPS. And I was really surprised by that, as I don't think I've seen any game so far take advantage of that on the PS5 or Xbox Series X. I might be late on that, but that was very surprising. And then this mode will also be available on handheld mode. As we see with Metroid Prime 4, they're going to be doing 720 120 FPS, and then 1080 60 FPS for the graphics mode, which is still impressive that they're able to maintain this at 120 FPS on the handheld mode. And I think regarding just the general specs, we're obviously more getting towards the PS5 and Xbox Series X level of performance, but we're not quite there. And I think this is going to be around the performance level of a PS4 to PS4 Pro / like Xbox One X. And there's also a bunch of other information regarding like HDR, LCD. I'm not too familiar with that type of stuff, but it seems as though from the Switch preview event over the past weekend that people were saying that it looks a lot better than the current Switch OLED screen, which is nice to hear. And seeing as how this is going to be an upgraded and better version of the original Switch is also going to be super cool, as I think that's what everyone really wanted. And enough with the specs, I think it's time to move on to first party games. And starting off with Mario Kart World, the first game revealed for the Nintendo Switch 2, it honestly looked really amazing. In the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct, there were a lot of new modes like Knockout Tour, where you're just doing a continuous race from start to finish of 6 or 5 different tracks. And seeing as how like there are no stops between each race, it's just continuous, as it's like more of an open world type of game. It's really cool to see, as well as there being like an open roam type of mode similar to like I think Forza Horizon 5, where you're just exploring the world with your Mario character in your cart, and playing that with friends seems like it's going to be a really cool idea, and I think it's definitely the next step for the Mario Kart games. I'm not too big of a Mario Kart fan, but that looks really cool, and what enticed me the most was the new gameplay mechanics, such as like wall jumping and grind railing, as it's giving me some very hard Sonic vibes, and as you know, I'm a very big Sonic fan. And up next in the Direct, we were given Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, which is probably the most disappointing reveal so far. It's basically the Astro's Playroom equivalent for the Nintendo Switch 2, except you have to pay $10 as it's been confirmed recently. And seeing as how this game is like not even like, it's not really a platformer, so it's more as though it's like a bunch of like mini games that you play through that like revolve around the Nintendo Switch 2 mechanics, which seem pretty fun, but it's very sad to see as this isn't a pack-in game like Wii Sports for the Wii or like Nintendo Land for the Wii U. And I know the game developers said they feel as though they deserve to be compensated for their games, but it just sucks. I feel like this would have been a great pack-in game, and I doubt many people will be buying this game given this price tag. And then up next after that, we had the Nintendo Switch 2 Edition games, like Metroid Prime 4 and Pokemon Legends ZA and Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Honestly, I'm not surprised that there's a $10 price tag for upgrading your games to have the 4K 60 stuff. We've seen that with current gen games, I think like Ghost of Tsushima and like other games like that on other platforms. Though I am a little bit disappointed that like for games like these, you have to pay at least $10 just to play 4K 60, whereas other games like Mario Odyssey and ARMS, and there's a specific list of them, you don't have to pay and they'll be free upgrades. It's really weird where, like, which type of games will be receiving the upgrades and what other games wouldn't be receiving them. But it's still cool to see that, and it's really cool how they're integrating DLC into these Nintendo Switch 2 editions. An example of that is Kirby and the Forgotten Land plus Starcross World. And what they're doing is they're combining the $10 Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade with another $10 DLC, making it a total of a $20 upgrade if you already own the Nintendo Switch 1 version of it. And I think it's really cool that they're including DLC into this, even though the DLC is separate from the Nintendo Switch 2 upgrade, I believe. It's still cool to see that they're going back and not only just like updating the graphics of the games, but also adding more content, which is really cool to see, and exciting to see what games Nintendo will do in the future. Like, people have been talking about maybe doing that for Smash Bros. Ultimate, though I think I would rather see a new game and reboot situation for that. And we were then shown the ARMS equivalent for this generation, the more gimmicky game, Drag X Drive. It's a wheelchair basketball type of game that uses both of the mouse controls like this. And honestly, it looks cool. I don't think I'll be purchasing it just because I've never been really one for these gimmicky sort of games. I never bought ARMS. I played the demo. It seemed like it was okay for me. I was 12 at the time, but I've just never been one for the gimmick games. Though I think I've heard Nintendo is still yet to reveal a lot about the game, so I'm excited to see what they reveal and see if my mind will change on whether or not I buy that game or not. And then we're also shown like a lot more games, like the new Hyrule Warriors for Tears of the Kingdom. I really wanted to play Age of Calamity, but given that it was like a non-canon storyline and that the performance on that game looked really bad, I just stayed away from it. And seeing as that now that the performance issue will be solved, and I think they revealed that the new Hyrule Warriors game will be canon to the story, I think I might give it a shot. It just depends if it comes to the regular Switch or not, because I still don't know if I'll be buying the Switch 2, given the price and all of the other stuff happening in America, which I'll get onto later. And for the last few reveals, we got the GameCube for Nintendo Switch Online, which a lot of people were expecting, and it's finally really cool to see, as we'll now be able to play GameCube games on Switch without needing a remaster or ports or stuff like that. And I think that's really cool to see. I never really grew up with the GameCube, but I've been wanting to play some games on there, like Wind Waker, for a while. I would have preferred having like the HD remaster from the Wii U ported over, but I'm fine with this as it gives me a chance to play it. And it's definitely going to be one of the reasons why I'm thinking about picking up a Switch 2. Then we had Kirby Air Riders, which honestly, I thought that was a new Smash Bros. Game given the art style and the direction of the trailer for the first half. It gave me definitely big World of Light vibes. And honestly, I wouldn't say I'm too excited. I never really played the original game, and given that there's a new Mario Kart and a new Sonic racing game, I don't think I would be able to afford like 3 racing games within the next year. So I'll definitely be looking out for that, but I don't know if I'll be picking that up near time. And then we also got the Donkey Kong Bonanza trailer, which was definitely the highlight of the whole entire Switch 2 Direct for me. Now this game looks honestly incredible. It's just a 3D Donkey Kong game, which I've never seen or experienced in my life. And I'm pretty sure the last one was on the Nintendo 64 or the GameCube. I can't remember which one. But this game looks honestly amazing. It's giving me heavy Super Mario Odyssey vibes, and I honestly just can't wait to try it out over the summer. And with the third-party games, we were seeing games like Elden Ring, Hades 2, Street Fighter 6, Delta Ruin, Final Fantasy 7 Remake, Bravely Default Remake, Silk Song was teased, and then like the new FromSoft game at the end, Dustbloods. And honestly, I think the third-party support on the system is huge so far, and a lot better than the original Switch on the release. I think the updated capabilities of the new Switch 2 console is definitely helping out in this regard. And there will definitely be a lot more third-party games coming to the Switch 2 than the original Switch. Even though there were a lot for the original Switch, I do think the third-party support is going to be a lot more. Especially with games like Final Fantasy 7 Remake coming out. I know it is a PS4 game, but they're putting the PS5 version of the game Remake Integrate on the Switch 2, which gives me a lot of hope that they can maybe possibly do Rebirth, or just have more Square Enix games come to Switch in general. Especially with the Dustbloods reveal, I think that took everyone by surprise. With FromSoft being as big as it is now, especially after Elden Ring, having an exclusive FromSoft game on the Switch is definitely going to have some people go towards your console, and I think that's going to be a huge thing. I do think it's going to be a time exclusivity, as I believe Nintendo is publishing it in... It's either Nintendo's publishing it in Japan and then FromSoft's publishing it around the world, or it's the opposite, where Nintendo's publishing it around the world and FromSoft's doing it in Japan. I'm not sure which one, but I believe the same thing happened with Octopath Traveler, and then after that exclusivity thing was gone and Square Enix was just the main publisher, it went onto other platforms. So I do think that'll be happening in the future, but not at least for a while. And this game is coming out next year too, So we won't be seeing it on the PlayStation 5 or Steam, PC, or Xbox for a while. I think this system is going to do really good. There's going to be a lot of support right out the gate for this, and there are a lot of first-party games, a lot of third-party games, and the game support for this console is amazing. It was revealed after the Direct, and I think that's when the hype for me definitely got severed. C-Bun, I understand having an integrated chat button into your controller is pretty cool, but the main problem with that is that it's behind a paywall of the OLED and Switch. But the main thing that sucks about this is that they pushed back the pre-orders. They're supposed to originally be going out today on April 9th, but they pushed it back due to the tariffs that were induced on the Nintendo Switch 2 Direct reveal date. And honestly, I don't really know much about tariffs and like all that like other stuff, so I'm not gonna go too in depth. All I know is that the costs of stuff that are coming from other countries will be increasing in the future. I think that's my understanding of it. I definitely need to do more research on the matter, but yeah, that does really suck. Because if the Nintendo Switch 2 were to receive another price increase, this is definitely going out the budget for a lot of people, especially considering the original price of the Switch was $300, and this is already $150 more expensive. And I think what sucks even more is the price of the games. Mario Kart World, the first game for Nintendo Switch 2, was revealed to be $80. Now, no matter what you say, $80 for one video game is crazy. No deluxe edition or none of that. It's just base game is $80. I think Nintendo needs to like provide a very valid reason for why they think this game is priced at $80. I was not able to go to Nintendo Switch 2 events over the past weekend, so I'm not able to speak on the actual gameplay. But just from what I've seen, it just seems like it does seem like a new and better Mario Kart. But isn't that what they do every generation? Just make a new and better game. Will be a Mario Kart World. I was about to say deluxe. Direct coming out within the next few weeks, so maybe then they'll tell us something. But I'm expecting like free DLC for its entire life or something like that to be warranted an $80 purchase. And with other Switch 2 games like Donkey Kong Bonanza being retailed at around $70, that makes sense given that's the video game industry standard at the moment. And it's already $10 more expensive than that, so they really need to like warrant that much. They did release a statement saying that they believe that video games will be priced based off how much Nintendo thinks they're worth, and they believe Mario Kart World is worth the $80. But until they like show me something that actually proves that, I don't believe that it is worth $80. And this also goes for more Switch 2 games in the future. They, like in the statement I mentioned before, they said that they're going to be pricing games based off how they feel it's worth. So the pricing for games now is just going to be completely uncertain for Nintendo in the future. I hope that this means that for games like the Mario sports games and other smaller budget games will be priced at a lower cost than $60 to make up for this. Because I feel as though those games aren't obviously at the same quality or like level of as other games such as like Tears of the Kingdom, for example. And so I hope that they take this measure that they're doing into account for all the other games that they're going to release. And honestly, my final thoughts on the console is the gameplay reveal and the whole like system overview was really good. It got me really hyped about the system. It's crazy you can do 4K gaming on a Nintendo console and have 120 FPS on the go with you on handheld. And the games too look really cool too. I'm excited about the future games. You know, they haven't revealed a new 3D Mario or Smash or like Animal Crossing or anything like that, but I do think they will doing that within the next year, and I will be covering that as Nintendo Switch 2 news keeps on coming in, and hopefully I make enough money to the point where I can afford a Switch 2 and cover Mario Kart World or Donkey Kong Bonanza as well. But yeah, thank you for staying tuned. Let me know in your thoughts in the comments about what you think about the Switch 2 and this whole thing that's going on with it. And until next time, goodbye.